The clock is ticking. The constant hum of digital notifications fills the air as we scroll through a never-ending list of tasks, goals, and to-dos. In the midst of this digital chaos, the idea of success seems straightforward. You work hard, you hustle, you achieve. But as the day slips into night and the list grows longer rather than shorter, there's a quiet realization that begins to settle in. Something doesn't feel right. You've been checking off all the right boxes, the career, the salary, the accolades, but the satisfaction you imagined would follow these victories never truly arrives. This is the paradox of modern life. We've been taught to chase success as if it's a tangible object, something we can touch, feel, and possess once we've crossed the finish line. Society whispers in our ears that success means acquiring wealth, climbing the career ladder, or earning recognition. But for all the noise, the truth remains elusive. No matter how much we achieve, something still feels empty. It's almost as though we're playing a game with invisible rules, a game that everyone else seems to know how to win. You've heard the advice before: work harder, hustle longer, be more disciplined. But what if this isn't the ultimate strategy? What if the game we've been taught to play, the game of striving, achieving, and accumulating, isn't the game that leads to true fulfillment? What if the real game, the one that holds the key to success, is the one that happens within ourselves? Consider the idea that the success we've been chasing isn't really success at all, but a distraction, an illusion of achievement meant to keep us occupied while the real work of self-discovery goes unnoticed. It's easy to become fixated on the outward markers of success: the shiny car, the big house, the impressive job title. But all of these external markers, these symbols of accomplishment, pale in comparison to the deeper, more nuanced experience of living a fulfilled life. The external success can be fleeting, shallow, and ultimately unsatisfying, whereas true success, the kind that resonates in the soul, can't be measured by conventional standards. When you look deeper into the lives of those who have seemingly made it, you often find a different story than the one that's told in glossy magazines or motivational podcasts. Yes, they might have wealth, status, or fame, but many of them still grapple with profound loneliness, dissatisfaction, or an overwhelming sense of emptiness. Success, as the world defines it, often comes at the cost of self-sacrifice, disconnection, and burnout. The truth is that what we've been told is success may not be success at all. In fact, it may be the very thing that's preventing us from realizing what true success is. It's almost as if the world is playing a game of smoke and mirrors, feeding us a version of success that's been carefully curated and marketed to us. We've been conditioned to believe that success is something outside of us, something we need to acquire or achieve. But as we chase after these illusions, we miss the most important part of the journey: the understanding that success is not something to be gained externally, but something to be cultivated from within. This brings us to a profound realization. The game that we've been told to play isn't really the game that will lead us to fulfillment. The true game is one of inner transformation, self-awareness, and alignment with our deeper purpose. The question is not, how do I achieve more, but rather, how do I connect with my authentic self and live a life that reflects who I truly am? At this crossroads, we are confronted with a choice. We can continue to chase the external game, striving for a success that feels increasingly hollow and unfulfilling, or we can choose to play a different game, one that's more subtle, more internal, and ultimately more rewarding. This new game is not about controlling the world around us, but rather, it's about mastering the internal world of our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. It's about finding peace within ourselves, regardless of the external circumstances. The ultimate strategy for success, then, isn't about accumulating more stuff or achieving more goals. It's about letting go of the need for external validation and embracing the wisdom of the inner journey. In this moment, we face the truth. The pursuit of external success has distracted us from something far more meaningful. True success isn't about winning in the external world. It's about winning in the game of life that happens inside us. It's about understanding that the real power comes not from what we accumulate, but from who we become in the process. It's easy to look at the world and assume that success is defined by what we see, the outward trappings of wealth, power, and influence. But the real game, the one that leads to authentic fulfillment, happens beneath the surface, in the quiet spaces between the noise of the world. The strategy for success isn't about controlling the external world. It's about aligning ourselves with a deeper truth that transcends superficial achievements. So, the question we must ask ourselves is, what if success isn't something we can chase, but something we can cultivate from within? What if the ultimate strategy for success is not in controlling the world around us, but in mastering the game of life within ourselves? This is where the real transformation begins. And it's a journey that leads to something far more profound than external accolades. It leads to inner peace, self-acceptance, and fulfillment. As we stand at this crossroads, the tension between illusion and reality becomes clear. On one hand, we have the world's version of success, a shiny, external prize that promises happiness but rarely delivers. On the other hand, we have the possibility of a deeper, more meaningful success that's rooted in self-awareness and purpose. The choice is ours, and it begins with the realization that true success is not something we achieve, but something we become. This is the essence of the ultimate strategy for success. It's not about winning the game that others play. It's about choosing to play a different game, one that's more profound, more lasting, and ultimately more fulfilling. As we explore this path, we will discover that the true strategy for success lies not in control, but in surrender. It's not about forcing life to bend to our will. It's about aligning with a deeper truth that leads us to peace and purpose. At the heart of this exploration is the notion that success, as we have been taught to understand it, is deeply flawed. It's easy to buy into the narrative that success is about external achievements, about conquering the world, collecting accolades, gaining approval. Yet if we are to dig deeper into what success really means, we must peel back the layers of conventional wisdom and question the very foundations upon which our beliefs are built. It is in this questioning that we begin to find the seeds of true fulfillment. Philosophically, success has been examined and redefined by many great thinkers. Carl Jung, for example, saw success as a deeply internal process, one that revolved around the integration of all parts of the self, including the hidden and often repressed aspects of the psyche. For Jung, true success didn't lie in external validation, but in the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming one's true self. This process involves coming to terms with both the light and dark aspects of our personality, embracing them, and allowing them to coalesce into a more authentic, whole identity. This journey of self-realization is not easy, and it requires surrendering the need for perfection or external approval. True success, for Jung, was less about what we achieve in the world and more about how we align ourselves with our deepest truths. Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, offered a similar perspective in his writings, particularly in Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl argued that meaning, not success in the conventional sense, is the highest human need. His experience in Nazi concentration camps led him to the conclusion that even in the most dire and inhumane conditions, those who were able to find meaning in their suffering were the ones most likely to survive. For Frankl, success was not about achieving status or wealth, but about the capacity to find purpose, even in the face of immense adversity. The pursuit of meaning, rather than success as society defines it, is the ultimate strategy for living a fulfilled life. Friedrich Nietzsche, too, offers a profound challenge to the way we view success. Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch, the Overman or Superman, is often misunderstood as a call for domination and superiority, but it is much more subtle and philosophical. Nietzsche's Übermensch is an individual who creates their own values, free from the constraints of societal norms, tradition, and religion. The Übermensch is not someone who seeks external validation or approval, but is someone who strives to live authentically, according to their own internal compass. The Übermensch represents a radical shift from the traditional view of success. Instead of conforming to external expectations, the true path to greatness lies in embracing personal freedom and self-overcoming, continually striving to become more than we were yesterday, not in the eyes of others, but in our own eyes. These thinkers all point to the same core insight. external success, while it may bring temporary satisfaction, is not the true measure of a fulfilled life. This understanding forces us to confront the reality that our cultural obsession with external achievement is both misguided and destructive. The pursuit of fame, wealth, and social validation often leads to burnout, anxiety, and a sense of emptiness. This is the paradox of modern life. We are taught to chase something that, in the end, cannot fulfill us. The more we acquire, the more we strive for external markers of success, the further we drift from the authentic self. But the journey towards true success, the kind that brings lasting peace and fulfillment, begins not in the external world, but in the internal one. Success, as it turns out, is an internal game, one that involves learning how to navigate the complexities of the self. The challenge is not to conquer the world, but to conquer ourselves. And in this inner conquest, we find the deepest form of freedom. At the core of this transformation is the understanding that we are not defined by what we do or achieve, but by who we are. We are not our titles, our possessions, or the number of social media followers we have. Our worth is not tied to the outward symbols of success. Instead, we are defined by our inner world, our thoughts, our beliefs, our capacity for self-reflection and growth. Success, in this light, becomes a process of self-mastery, not self-aggrandizement. The internal game, then, is one of awareness. It's about becoming conscious of the ways in which we've been conditioned to define ourselves by external standards. It's about recognizing the patterns of thought that tell us we are not enough unless we have more, achieve more, and prove more to the world. This awareness is the first step in breaking free from the external game. It is the moment when we realize that the success we've been chasing is not our own. It's a script that's been handed to us by society, by culture, by family, by media. It's a story we've been told to believe. And the first step toward freedom is realizing that we don't have to play along anymore. The question then becomes, how do we break free from this external narrative and redefine success on our own terms? The answer lies in the power of choice. The choice to let go of external validation and to define success from within. This requires a radical shift in perspective. It means embracing the idea that we are worthy not because of what we do, but because of who we are. It means shifting our focus from doing to being, from achieving to becoming. Instead of asking, what can I achieve, we begin to ask, who am I becoming in the process? This journey of self-awareness and self-definition is not a quick fix or a simple solution. It's a lifelong journey that requires patience, humility, and deep introspection. It's about facing the parts of ourselves that we've been avoiding, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities. It's about confronting the ego's relentless drive for validation and learning how to quiet its noise. It's about realizing that true peace comes not from external accomplishment, but from internal alignment. In this context, success becomes an ongoing process of self-discovery. It's not something that is achieved once and for all, but something that is continuously nurtured and refined. It's about becoming more aware, more present, more in tune with our deeper selves. The external world may continue to place pressure on us to conform to its standards of success, but by shifting our focus inward, we begin to realize that we are no longer dependent on those external markers for validation. We have redefined success, and it no longer has the power to define us. This internal shift does not mean abandoning our goals, our ambitions, or our desires. It simply means that we no longer define ourselves by them. We begin to approach life not from a place of scarcity, where we are constantly striving for something we believe we lack, but from a place of abundance, where we recognize that we are enough as we are. Success in this new light is not about acquiring more. It's about deepening our connection with the person we are becoming. Ultimately, the journey toward true success is a journey of self-mastery. It's about learning to trust ourselves, to trust the process, and to embrace the wisdom of our own inner voice. When we begin to play the internal game, we discover that we have been the master of our own success all along. And this realization, this moment of profound self-awareness, becomes the ultimate strategy for living a truly successful life. The truth begins to settle in. Success, as we once understood it, is not about what we achieve, but about who we become. We spend so much time trying to conquer the external world, measuring our worth by how much we've accumulated, how many goals we've checked off, how much recognition we've earned. But now, we see it differently. The moment we start to let go of that constant chase, we realize that the real game, the one that matters, is happening on the inside. And with that realization comes an unsettling, yet liberating truth. We have been playing the wrong game all along. This is not an easy pill to swallow. The world around us tells us that success is all about external markers, wealth, status, titles, and accomplishments. It promises happiness, but it often delivers only temporary satisfaction and a hollow sense of achievement. But what if we've been misled? What if all the striving and struggling, the relentless push to win and prove ourselves, has been keeping us from something far more fulfilling? This is the moment when the external game collapses, and the true game, the internal one, begins. It's a moment of profound transformation, one that takes us deep into the heart of what it means to live a fulfilled life. The first part of this transformation is the surrender of control. We've been conditioned to believe that success comes from effort, from pushing, from controlling every aspect of our lives. But what if success, true success, is not about control at all? What if it's about surrendering to life as it is, embracing the uncertainty, the unpredictability, and the flow of existence itself? This is where the deeper wisdom of the philosophers begins to echo in our own lives. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch is not about domination, as many misunderstand it. Instead, it is about transcending the conventional notion of success, creating our own values, and embracing our true potential. The Übermensch doesn't chase after success as society defines it. Instead, they live authentically, free from the need for external validation, forging a path that reflects their deepest desires and truths. It's not about conforming to societal standards, but about embracing the freedom that comes from defining success on our own terms. This shift from external to internal success is often accompanied by a deep sense of fear. The fear of letting go. The fear of surrendering control. The fear of the unknown. But it is in this very surrender that the transformation happens. It's in the quieting of the mind, the letting go of rigid expectations, that we begin to hear the whispers of our true self. This process isn't about striving or pushing harder. It's about stopping, pausing, and being. It's about accepting where we are, without judgment or the need to change anything. In that acceptance, we find the peace and clarity we've been seeking all along. This is the moment of breakthrough, when we realize that true success isn't about achieving more, but about becoming more. It's about the inner journey, the transformation that happens within the heart and mind. It's the realization that we don't need to chase anything outside of ourselves to find peace, happiness, or fulfillment. All we need to do is return to ourselves, embrace our imperfections, and learn to live in harmony with the flow of life. The power of this transformation lies in the simplicity of its message. Success is not something we chase. It is something we embody. It's a way of being, not doing. It's about aligning with our core values and living authentically, without the need to prove ourselves to anyone. As we begin to embrace this truth, we feel a sense of freedom that was once unimaginable. The need for validation fades, and we begin to move through life with a sense of ease and grace. This doesn't mean that we abandon our ambitions, our goals, or our desires. On the contrary, it means we approach them from a different place. We no longer measure our worth by how much we accomplish or how much recognition we receive. Instead, we measure our success by how deeply we connect with ourselves and how authentically we live. Success becomes an inner state of being, not an external achievement. It's about knowing that we are enough just as we are, and that everything we need is already within us. The shift from external to internal success is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. It's a journey of continual self-discovery, of peeling back the layers of conditioning and ego that have kept us from our true selves. It's a process of deepening our connection to our inner wisdom, of learning to trust ourselves, and of cultivating the courage to live authentically, no matter what the world may say. In this process, we also begin to understand the power of surrender. Surrendering does not mean giving up or resigning ourselves to failure. It means letting go of the need to control every outcome, to micromanage every detail, and to live in constant fear of making a mistake. Surrendering is about trust in the process, trust in ourselves, and trust in life. It's about letting life unfold as it will, knowing that we are always moving towards what is best for us, even if we don't fully understand it at the time. This trust is the foundation of true success. It allows us to let go of the anxiety and stress that come from trying to force outcomes and control every aspect of our lives. It opens up space for creativity, joy, and fulfillment. When we surrender the need to control, we allow life to surprise us, to show us possibilities we never even imagined. We stop clinging to rigid plans and expectations and start living more freely, more expansively. And in this freedom, we find the peace we've been seeking all along. The internal game of success is one of trust, surrender, and authenticity. It is a game that requires us to let go of the need for external validation and to embrace the wisdom of our own hearts. It's about realizing that true fulfillment comes not from what we do or achieve, but from who we are and how we choose to live. And as we embrace this truth, we feel a deep sense of peace, knowing that we are on the right path, not because of what we've done, but because of who we've become. The emotional breakthrough comes when we realize that we don't need to prove anything to anyone. We are already enough. We have already won the game. This realization is not just intellectual. It's deeply emotional and liberating. It frees us from the relentless drive to achieve more, to constantly be better, to chase an elusive ideal of success that will never satisfy us. Instead, it brings us back to ourselves, to the truth of who we are, and to the understanding that we are worthy simply by being. This is the transformation. It is the realization that success, true success, is not a destination, but a way of being. It is about becoming who we are meant to be, fully and unapologetically. It's about aligning with our deepest desires, trusting ourselves, and surrendering to the flow of life. In this process, we find a deeper peace, a more profound sense of fulfillment, and the ultimate freedom. The freedom to be ourselves, to live authentically, and to know that we are enough just as we are. This is the ultimate insight. The game of success is not about winning, but about becoming. Becoming who you truly are, shedding the layers of ego and external pressure, and embracing the truth of your own being. It's about surrendering to the flow of life, trusting that you are already on the right path, and knowing that success, in its truest sense, comes from within.